All right, here is my audience. Right there. All right, my name is Kylie Bailey, and the specific purpose of the speech is to inform on the use of a sewing machine. How many of you have been stuck in a situation where you got a hole in your favorite pair of pants, or you needed something hemmed at a low cost, or even just to make your own clothing? During this speech, I will be demonstrating and informing you on the use of a sewing machine. As an apparel design major, I have used a sewing machine almost daily during the school year and even during the summer. Last year, I actually got to teach a group of 8 children how to sew and make their own product in an assembly line. The importance of this topic is that it is a common skill that most people should have, and up until about a few years ago, it was a common skill that most people did have. During school, people would take a class, like in high school, on how to sew, and I actually have a few friends that did that in high school. Alright, so during this speech, I will show you how to thread the machine, how to use it, and I will also sew 2 pieces of fabric together so you can see how to sew the 2 fabrics together. Okay, first we're going to turn on the sewing machine, which is typically on the right of the machine right here. This machine's already plugged in, just a normal outlet source. And then right here we have the presser foot, which is what makes the machine go. So the first thing you typically have to do is you have to wind a bobbin thread. So you'll take your thread and put it on here. Now the bobbin thread is the under layer of the stitch. There's a top layer and an under layer. So you take it through this right here, and then you wind it over and put it on these bobbins. There's a little hole. You probably can't see it on the thing, but that's okay. And you will put your thread through the hole. Sometimes it's easier to do it from the top to the bottom. All right. And then you just pull it through like this. Then you'll put the bobbin on here like that. Pull it up to make it tight, and then move this bobbin this way. So now as I press on the presser foot down here, it'll just wind it up on this bobbin right here. And then you will take it off, and there's that. Just gonna rip it. So for the purpose of this speech, I'm not gonna show you how to put the bobbin into the machine because it's already been threaded. And for this machine, it's a little bit more difficult to put the bobbin in the machine. It's underneath this space right here. Typically, there will be like a little plate. You stick it in and wrap it around. More newer machines have that, so it's a little bit easier to put the bobbin thread on there. Okay, so now I'm gonna just thread the actual machine. And this is where step 1 is. And then you go down through this to step 2, up and around up here. Make sure that this right here is up. It has to be up to as high up as it can go, or you're not going to be able to get it in. And you want to come around here to the thread right here. And then you go down this and wrap it around here and put the thread through this needle right here. Which this is not going to go through because it's so... Alright, that's fine. So you put it through this right here. Right now this is so frazzled, it's not going to go through. Alright, so that's how you thread a machine. Those are all the basic steps and all of that. You always have to make sure your tension is on a 3. Some machines have an auto tension. The tension is just how hard down the needle goes. And this needle actually is really dull, so it's not going to do a very good job of sewing. And then you also need your stitch length at a 3 and the needle in the middle. So I'm just going to show you how to sew 2 pieces of fabric together. You sew right sides together. So the right side of the fabric is like, for example, like this is the right side, underneath is the wrong side. So you sew the 2 what they call fashion sides together. So in this case, this side's a little bit more duller than this side. This one's shiny. So I'll sew the two shiny sides together. And you take your presser foot, lift it up, put it at the stitch, the seam allowance that you want it at. Typically it's 5/8 of an inch. That's what a normal seam allowance is. And then you just push it through the machine like this. Now these aren't actually gonna sew together because I don't have a top thread in there. And then you cut it off, and that's how it is. In the end, it will be like this, and then this is the seam. All right. So, although there are many more components to the sewing machine and other ways to sew things together, like you sew an armhole differently, you sew a leg hole differently than just this typical seam, there's also different ways that you can sew, like a zigzag stitch or even a double stitch. But for this purpose of this speech, I just showed you how to work a sewing machine and how to thread it, and then how to sew the two pieces of fabric.